Hello everyone, today in this video I'll be explaining atoms, molecules, and ions. Okay, now for this particular lecture video, we actually have the following learning objectives. Under part 1, we need to explain the difference between atoms, molecules, and ions. Second is identify the relationships between the number of subatomic particles, which are your protons, electrons, and neutrons, with atomic number and mass number. And then for part 2, and even for this part, we'll be naming and writing chemical formulas of compounds. Okay? As we start, again, I apologize for the ambient noises that you may or will be hearing as we go along the lecture video. But nonetheless, let's continue. Topic outline. First thing is we need to identify or study what atomic structure is. Second is the subatomic particles of the atom. Third is the definition and technicalities for molecules and ions, and then chemical formula. All right, the first thing that we'll be discussing is the structure of the atom. An atom is the basic unit of an element that is both extremely small and indivisible. Now, what does that mean? When you say extremely small, with our naked eye, we cannot simply see the atom and also its structure. Now, what does indivisible mean? Indivisible means that the atom can no longer be broken down into smaller pieces, rather. Although we cannot break down atoms into smaller pieces, atoms have subatomic particles. As mentioned by the slide, after a series of investigations, researchers lead to the discovery of subatomic particles, which are electrons, protons, and neutrons. Now, the next slide, I'll be explaining to you the differences or the definitions for electrons, protons, and neutrons. Subatomic particles. Now, electrons, as we all know, is the negatively charged subatomic particle. So the key word is that when we have electrons, this will be the negatively charged. And then protons, this will be your positively charged subatomic particles. And then neutron, this is electrically neutral. So electrons, negative charge, protons, positive charge, neutrons, this will be neutrally charged, or not charged, but electrically neutral. Okay? Now below is just a table showing you the mass, the charge, and who were the scientists who discovered electrons, protons, and neutrons. For electrons, it has this particular mass, proton, and then neutron, and this is the particular value of their charges. Okay? And then electron was discovered by Joseph John Thomson or J.J. Thomson by the use of the cathode ray tube. And then proton was discovered by Ernest Rutherford through the gold foil experiment. And then neutron was a subatomic particle discovered by James Chadwick. For the cathode ray tube experiment, this is just a overview on how the cathode ray tube experiment was done by J.J. Thomson here for the electron. So this is a GIF for the cathode ray tube experiment. So as you can see, it has a source of electricity, and then you have here the cathode. As you turn it on, the cathode ray tube will emit, and then through the anode, you have this particular mechanism. Okay, and then this one, the second image, is a gold foil experiment via alpha particle. Now this was used by Ernest Rutherford, okay, Ernest Rutherford for the gold foil experiment to discover proton. Okay, so this was just through the use of the alpha particles. Okay, alpha particles are positively charged particles, and then when it hit or tumama ito sa gold foil, it was seen that some of the alpha particles ricocheted, okay, bumanda siya in different direction. So from this idea, kung babanda siya, ibig sabihin, meron ding positive charge dito. Kasi yung idea dyan, kung positive itong alpha particle at bumanda at some point yung ibang alpha particle, that means may positive sign dito. Kasi nga, positive from the source, tatama dito, may positive din. Kasi positive will repel. 'Di ba? Like signs repel. So kung positive to, and then we assume na may positive din dito, magre-repel, bumanda. Okay? At different directions. So that's the reason how um, Rutherford mentions or seemingly led to the discovery that meron tayong subatomic particle, the proton. Okay? This slide or my explanation for the cathode ray tube and gold foil experiment may not be that exhaustive. I'm just giving the caveat or the overview on how this two particular experiment led to the discovery of subatomic particles. But I suggest to subscribe to more content, to more exhaustive content on how the subatomic particles were discovered by this certain scientist. But nonetheless, let me continue. Now, at this point, we'll be talking about atomic number and mass number. So let me explain the anatomy on how we identify the atomic number and mass number. So in this slide, you have here carbon. This is the symbol for carbon, letter C. And then on the superscript, this is mass number. The subscript 6, that represents atomic number. So atomic number is represented by Z. So let us assign X as any element. Okay, and then atomic number is Z. That will be your subscript. So this will be your atomic number. I'm just writing the format. And then A, this will be your mass number. That will be the one at the superscript. Okay, by definition, we know that atomic number Z is equal to the number of protons within the nucleus. Okay? And then mass number, letter A, the number of protons plus number of neutrons within the nucleus. So let's have a review of the atomic structure from our previous content, okay, from knowing what the atomic structure is. Now, we all know within the nucleus, we have the protons and then the neutrons. And then outside the nucleus, we have the electrons just roaming around. Okay? So, sorry about the illustration, pero ganyan. Ganyan lang yung idea niyan, okay? So, nasa loob po ng nucleus, okay? So, imagine natin nucleus yan. Nasa loob ng nucleus yung proton at neutron. Yun yung idea, okay? Pwede bang lumabas o madagdagan ang proton and neutron? The idea is that hindi sila pwede tumakas dyan. Okay? Nakatago lang sila, nakakumpul si proton and neutron dyan sa loob ng nucleus. Ang pwede lang mag-alis-alis, tumatambay-tambay, or pwedeng alis or pasok is si electron. Dyan, nakatambay or nag-roam around the nucleus. Okay? So kapag kinocompute natin si mass number, we are technically computing yung bigat nitong nucleus. That is why si nucleus, you add proton plus neutron. Yung bilang nila. Kasi ito yung binibilang mo, yung bigat nitong nucleus. Okay? And then atomic number, bilang lang po ni proton. Okay? Next one. In a neutral atom, the number of proton is the same as the number of electrons. So if you want to know the number of electron, that is actually equal to the number of proton. Kung gaano kadami si proton, yun din ang bilang ni electron. However, basta neutral. Okay? Kapag neutral lang atom, pag sinabi pong neutral, ibig sabihin walang charge. Kumbaga, say for example, you have theoretical element X, okay? Hindi po siya negative, hindi po siya positively charged. Ito po yung mga electrically charged, negative charge or positive charge. Okay? Ibig sabihin, medyo magva-vary yung bilang ni proton at neutron. Pero, kung, say for example, elemental X lang yan, okay, walang superscript na positive or negative, hindi siya electrically charged, neutral. Okay, so pag neutral, we assume that number of electrons and protons will be equal. So, ibig sabihin, kung 6 yung protons mo, 6 din yung electrons mo. Okay, so yun ang ibig sabihin niya. What about the last point? Number of neutrons. Now, how do we know the number of neutrons? Napakasimple lang. Okay? So we actually can identify the number of neutrons by subtracting A minus Z. So A minus Z. So mass number minus atomic number. So ganun lang kasimple. You just need to subtract the mass number minus atomic number. Okay? So let's try. Let's try to apply what we learn here. Okay, so let me just clear my board. Okay. So identify the atomic number Z, mass number, proton number, electron number, and neutron number of the following elements. So let me show you. So we have here magnesium. So magnesium 2412. So okay lang na interchangeable naman yan. So 24, this is your, as remember, this is your mass number, and this is your 12 is your Z. Okay, atomic number. As shown by the slide here. Okay, mass number A. Sige, para mas klaro, mass number is A. Z is atomic number. Okay? Z, atomic number. Si atomic number ay nasa baba. Subscript. Mass number A. Mass number A ay nasa superscript. So, para hindi nakakalito, A to Z. A, taas, then pababa, Z. Okay? So, yan. So, unahin daw natin alamin ang atomic number. So, atomic number, napakadali. That is 12. Okay? How about letter A? Your mass number. 24. Mass number. What about proton number? So, remember, si proton number ay equal sa atomic number. Diba? As mentioned by the previous slide, kung ano yung atomic number, yun si proton number. So, that will be 12. What about the electron? Electron number, as mentioned by the previous slide, kung gaano kadami si proton, yun din si number ni electron. Kapag neutral ang atom. Neutral ba sa Mg, sa magnesium? Opo, neutral. Kasi hindi naman siya electrically charged. Wala naman nakalagay na negative or positive. So, neutral, same cis or parehas si proton at electron. 12 din. How about neutron number? Neutron number, so as we remember from the previous slide, A minus Z. Okay? So, A minus Z, your A is 24, Z is 12, that will be 12. So, 12 ang iyong neutron. So, let's check. Atomic number Z12, mass number 24, proton number 12, electron number 12, and then neutron 12. Okay? Diba? Napakadali. Sige, another example para mas ma-practice. We have here PB, or I think this one is lead, if I am not mistaken. But correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so PB. So we have here 207 and then 82. This is your A and this one is your Z. Okay, so unahin natin si atomic number. Napakadali, 82. Mass number, nakalagay dito, 207. Proton number, proton is equal to atomic number, so 82 rin. Electron, look at the symbol for the element. Walang nakalagay na positive or negative sign, hindi siya electrically charged. So, I assume this is neutral. So, same cis or pareha si proton at electron. So, 82. Okay? How about the neutron number? So, again, A minus Z. Your A is 207 minus 82. Okay? So, let me just use a calculator here with me. So, 207 minus 82, that is 125. So, let me check. 82, 207 for mass number, proton number is 82, electron number is 82, and then neutron number is 125. Okay? Easy, very easy. This is easily done as long as we follow the definitions on how we identify atomic number, mass number, proton number, electron number, and neutron number. Okay? Okay. All right, next on this discussion is we have isotopes. Now, this is very easy, padaliin ko lang po. Pag sinabing isotopes, ito po yung mga atoms, okay, na mayroong same number of protons but different number of neutrons. So, meaning to say, same atomic number but different mass number. Kumbaga, parehas sila ng atom number pero magkaiba ng bigat. Okay, ito yung mga isotopes. Tulad nitong example na nasa slide. Hydrogen, deuterium, and tritium. Pare-parehas po silang hydrogen atom. No, HHH. Pare-parehas na hydrogen atom. Tignan din, same number of protons. So, meaning to say, same atomic number. Tignan tong letter Z. Ayan, yung subscript. 1, 1, 1. Pare-parehas naman. Pero, iba-iba sila ng mass number. Yung bigat. Ayan, yung superscript. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ulitin ko po. Same number of protons. So, look at hydrogen. 1 proton. Deuterium, 1 proton. Tritium, 1 proton. Pero, iba-iba ng bilang ng neutrons. For hydrogen, there seems to be no neutron. Deuterium, it has 1 neutron. And then tritium, it has 2 neutrons. Therefore, same Z's ang kanilang mga atomic number, subscript, pero iba-iba sila ng mass number. Look at the superscript 1, 2, and 3. Kasi nga mass number, proton plus neutron. So proton, 1, so 1 ang kanya mass number. Proton, neutron, 2, mass number. And then you have here proton plus 2 neutrons, 3. You have, in total 3, that is your mass number. So, ganun lang po yung isotope. That is actually very easy in terms of definitions. Okay? Next one, let's talk about atoms. Okay, now, again, as mentioned, atom is simply the basic unit of an element that can enter chemical combinations. Atoms, as in chemistry, is the basic unit for matter and the defining structure for elements. Now, what about molecules? Now, molecules is very different from an atom. Kasi kung ang atom po ay basic unit, okay, kumbaga basic building block siya for building elements and other chemical combinations, molecules on the different side is an aggregate of 2 or more atoms in a definite arrangement held together mostly by covalent bonds. So, kung nagkumpul-kupol or naggrupo-grupo na yung mga atoms mo, okay, that is a molecule. Now, what are the characteristics for a molecule? A molecule can be a compound or an element. So, pwede po nating sabihin or umbrella term ang molecule para sa compound at element. So, mapa-compound man yan o mapa-element man yan, molecule, pwede natin siyang tawaging molecule. Example, atoms of the same element, itong H2 or hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas can be considered as a molecule. Or atoms of 2 or more elements join a fixed ratio. Atoms of 2 or more elements. Okay, atoms ng dalawa o higit pang element. Okay? Now, let me just write that one. So, itong number, atoms of 2 or more elements. So, 2 or more elements. Meron tayong dalawang element dito sa H2O, that is your hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen has 2 atoms. Paano nalaman na dalawang atoms? Ito pong subscript. Yung mga subscript, sinasabi niyan gaano kadami yung atom ng isang element. So, element H or hydrogen has 2 atoms. And then oxygen, kapag wala pong subscript, ina-assume po natin na 1 yan. So, 1 atom. So, this is 2 or more elements. Atoms of 2 or more elements. Okay, atoms of 2 or more elements. We have 3. So, this H2O is still considered as a molecule. Okay, so either atom of same element or atom of 2 or more elements, they are still considered as molecule. Molecules are electrically neutral, meaning to say wala po silang charge. Molecules can be diatomic, which means contains only 2 atoms. Pag sinabing diatomic, as the prefix suggests, di, that means 2. So itong Cl2, N2, HCl, CO, those are diatomic molecule. Siyempre, kung may diatomic, meron din polyatomic. As the prefix suggests, poly, that means more than two atoms. Sorry about that. More than two atoms. Examples are, say for example, molecules, more than two atoms. Ito, H2O, more than two. Tatlo yan eh. Dalawang H, isang O, so tatlo, more than two. Polyatomic. Ano pa ba? Meron pa NH4, ano ba? CO2, other complex molecules, so on and so forth. Okay? Let's have ions. Now, what about ions? Let me define first what ions are. Ion is simply an atom or group of atoms that has gained net positive or negative charge. So, meaning to say, kapag yung atom po o grupo ng mga atom o mga molecule, kapag nagkaroon po ng net positive or negative charge, ion na ang kanyang pwede natin or ion na ang itatawag natin. So, ang atom po ay nagiging ion kapag nawalan o nakatanggap ng electron. Ulitin ko, tanggap o nawalan ng electron. Keyword electron lang. So, hindi pwedeng mawala o madagdag si proton, neutron. Again, electron lang. Okay? So, tandaan natin yan. Ang atom ay nagiging ion lang kapag nawalan o tumanggap ng electron. So, hindi natin papansin si proton, neutron dito. Basta si electron. Okay? So, kapag nawalan ng electron, cation ang tawag. Positive charge. Siyempre, paano naging positive? Kasi nga si electron, naalala natin, negative siya. Okay? So, naalala natin na let me just clear that one. Naalala natin na si electron ay negatively charged. So, syempre, parang in life, diba, pag nawalan ka ng negativity, you'll be positive. So, that is what we call cation. And at this point, kapag tumanggap ka naman ng electron, one or more electrons, you'll be negatively charged or the atom will be negatively charged. Ang tawag naman po natin doon ay anion. So, ang basa po dyan ay cation, hindi cation. At ang basa po dyan ay anion, hindi anion. Pero, you make do for yourself. Pero that's the proper way we read cation and anion. Okay? Sige, let me just give you an example on how we identify, okay, on how we count number of electrons. Again, ayan loses or gains electron. Tandaan electron. So, for example, we have here potassium ion, K+. So, originally, 19 ang kanyang protons. Ilan kaya ang magiging proton niya na ngayon ay naging cation siya? Cation, nawalan ng electron. Ang proton ay parehas pa rin. Kasi nga, si electron lang ang pwedeng mawala at matanggap. Okay? So, K+. Ngayon, ilan kaya ang electrons? Dating 19, naging positive. Kung naging positive, lose. Ang meaning ng plus ay isa. So, we can also write this one as +1. So, meaning to say, nawalan ng isang electron. Okay? Okay. What about this one? Chlorine, negative or -1. This is an anion. So, anion, tumanggap ng electron. Again electron ang tinanggap. Ilan kaya si proton? Same this pa rin. 17 pa rin siya. Again proton ay hindi nadadagdagan, nababawasan. Electrons. So, anion, -1. So, tumanggap siya ng isang electron. So, 18 electrons. Okay? Napakadali. Okay, more examples in the next slide. So, another example. So, we have here carbon. So, ang atomic number niya ay 6. So, subscript. Ano kaya ang neutron number niya? Mass minus atomic number. So, that is A minus Z. So, ang A niya ay 12. Z ay 6. So, that will be 6. 6. How about the electron? So, naalala natin, kapag neutral, nakita mo, Si carbon ay neutral, walang positive or negative tulad nitong chlorine. So neutral, if neutral siya, kung gaano kadami si proton, yun din si electron. So 6. Next one, how about aluminum? So we have here aluminum, 27 mass and then 13 atomic number and then positively charged. Isa po siyang cation. So ibig sabihin ng plus 3, nawalan ng electron. Okay, loose electron. So proton number, lalahanin natin, ang atomic number ay equal kay Z. So that will be 13. Neutron number, nandyan na. Tama, 14. How about the electron? Ngayon, nakikita natin, hindi neutral. Okay? Hindi neutral yung ating atom. Kasi nga, di ba, by definition, kapag neutral, madali lang sana. Kung ilan si proton, yun din si electron. At dahil nga hindi neutral, it is positively charged, we make a count of the plus 3. Sige, ganito. So, originally, kung if neutral siya, 13 protons and then 13 electrons lang din. Okay? So ngayon, na naging Al plus 3 na siya, ang number of protons niya ay 13 pa rin. Hindi magbabago. Now, what about the electron? Dahil plus 3, meaning to say nawalan ng electron, this must be 10 electrons. So the answer is 10. Paano malalamang tama? We just simply subtract this one. 13 minus 10, 13 positive minus 10 negative, that will be 3 positive. So same Z's. Okay? Easy. Very, very easy. Okay? Okay. Alright, continuation. Now, ions can also be classified as monoatomic or polyatomic. When you say mono, that means as the prefix suggests, monoatomic contains only one atom. Okay? Examples are your sodium plus, magnesium 2 plus, aluminum 3 plus, bromine negative, and then sulfur 2 plus, or 2 negative rather, and then nitrogen 3 negative. And then polyatomic, as the prefix suggests, poly, containing more than one atom. So example is your NH4 plus, OH negative, nitrate negative, sulfate 2 negative, phosphate 3 negative. Okay? So again, ions can be monoatomic or polyatomic. Okay? At this point, we are on the last end of our discussion, which is all about chemical formulas. Now, what about chemical formulas? Now, chemical formulas use or are of use for chemical symbols to show the composition of molecules and ionic compounds. So, ibig sabihin lang po niyan, ang purpose ng chemical formula ay ipakita sa atin in symbol format kung ano yung laman or ano yung composition ng molecules at ionic compounds. A chemical formula also shows the ratios in which the atoms are combined in a compound. Meaning to say, it also shows ratio yung components ng atom. Say, for example, you have here chemical formula for water, H2O. So, meron kang dalawang atoms ng hydrogen, isang atom ng oxygen. So, meron tayong 2:1 ratio ng hydrogen to oxygen dito sa H2O. So, yun lang yung ibig sabihin nitong pangalawang point. Okay? Let's talk about empirical and molecular formula. Let me just explain this one in an easier tone. When you say molecular, the keywords is that molecular formula gives us or shows us the exact number of atoms of each element. It represents the actual formula of a molecule. When we say actual, in reality, ito talaga yung actual na formula niya. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa nilo-lowest term or hindi pa pinapasimple. Ito yung exact. Kumbaga, pag nagsosolve ka sa mathematics, kung ano yung nakuha mong unang sagot na mahaba, madaming decimal number, yun yung actual. Kumbaga sa empirical and molecular formula, yun siya. Okay? Molecular formula is the exact number. Okay? Yun yung keyword, exact. Example is glucose C6H12O6. That means in a molecule of glucose, it contains 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 6 oxygen atoms. Okay, again, keyword is exact. Okay, now what about empirical formula? Kung meron tayong exact, yung seemingly hindi pa naka-lowest term, empirical formula shows us the simplest whole number ratio or the lowest term of a number for the atoms of a compound or molecule. It is written by reducing the subscripts in the molecular formula to the smallest possible whole number. So coming from the molecular formula, papababain or ilo-lowest term lang natin yung mga, the subscripts. However, there will be times na kung ano yung molecular formula, yun din si empirical. Papaano? Example. So, molecular formula, C6H12O6. So, 6, 12, and 6 ay pwede nating malowest term pa. So, the empirical will be CH2O. Okay? So, itong 6, pwede maging 1, 6, 1, and then 12 will be 2. So, yung ano lang niya, the lowest term yun lang talaga, literally. And then N2H4, this will be NH2. C6H6 will be CH. C2H2 will be CH. From molecular to empirical. Now, this is an example of the second point that I am telling. The empirical formula can also be the same as the molecular. C2H6O is C2H6O rin. Okay? So, there are possible ways. Okay? There are instances na same si molecular at empirical. Bakit same? Kasi ang mga subscript, okay, C2H6O, carbon is 2, hydrogen is 6, and then oxygen is 1. So, hindi na natin malalowest or smallest possible number si 1 kasi ang smallest possible number ni 1 ay 1 na lang din. So, that is why si 6 ay 6 na din and 2 ay 2 na rin. Okay? So, just simple application for mathematics in lowering the whole number. So, kaya parehas pa rin si molecular at empirical. Okay? There are instances. Now, let's move forward in how to write chemical formulas for ionic compounds. So, let me explain the rules in writing it. First one is identify the charge of the cation and anion. We need to identify or know first ano po yung charge ng positive cation and then negative anion. Second, napangadali, we do the crisscross method. Write the symbols and the subscripts of the ions. The subscript of the cation is numerically equal to the charge of the anion, and the subscript of the anion is numerically equal to the charge on the cation. If the charges are numerically equal, then no subscripts are necessary. Ano daw? Sige, let me explain by means of an example. However, the things to remember, sorry about that. Ionic compounds are electrically neutral. Again, ang mga ionic compounds po ay electrically neutral. Okay, tulad ng mga molecules. Dapat po yung magiging product or yung magiging sagot natin kapag nagsusulat ng chemical formula ay walang charge, walang negative, walang positive. The formulas for the ionic compounds are their empirical formula. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano yung magiging sagot mo sa pagsusulat ng chemical formula ng ionic, dapat naka-lowest term lagi. So, again, electrically neutral, walang positive, negative dapat yung sagot mo, and then yung final answer ay dapat naka-lowest term lagi. Sige, example. So, this is an example for that one. So, we have here aluminum 3 plus and then oxygen 2 negative. So, explain ko step by step paano nangyari to. So, the first step, alamin kung ano yung mga charges. So, ito yung mga charges nila. Okay? Next step, criss-cross. Napakadali lang. So, criss and then cross. So, lilipat lang. Yung 2 negative, mapupunta lang kay aluminum. Yung 3 plus ni aluminum, pupunta lang sa subscript ni oxygen. So, from originally, galing sila sa mga superscript ng bawat isa, nilipat lang. So, yung superscript na 3 plus ni aluminum, pupunta lang sa subscript ni O. And then, superscript ni oxygen, nilipat lang sa subscript ni aluminum. So, this will be aluminum 2, oxygen 3. So, this is the final answer. As you look at it, dapat neutral. So, neutral po si Al2O3. Wala ka nakikita ng positive o negative dyan. And then, naka-lowest term, 2, 3. Wala nang lowest term yan. Hanggang 2 tsaka 3 na lang talaga yung dalawa. Okay, napakadali. So, another example is this one. So, let me show you step by step. Pb4 plus and then O2 negative. So, crisscross, we have Pb2O4. This is not yet the final answer kasi nga, according to rule, dapat lowest term. So, ang lowest term ni 2 at 4, pwede pa nating ma-lowest whole number ratio sila. So, Pb, mawawala si 2, maging 1. And then 4 will be 2. PbO2. So, again, PbO2 is electrically neutral and then naka-lowest term. More examples, you have here K plus and Cl negative. K plus, Cl negative, crisscross, KCl. And then another one is Mg2 plus O2 negative, rather, end pala end. And then crisscross, sorry about my writing, Mg2O2, not yet the final answer, gagawin ko pa siyang MgO. Kasi nga, itong 2 tsaka 2, pwede pang ma-whole number yan, whole number ratio sila, MgO. And then next one is zinc 2 plus and then NO3 negative. Paano to? Sige, step by step natin to. So, wag ma-enamour or wag matakot na nakita mo, grabe, NO3, bakit biglang dumami? Ganito lang po yan. Itong NO3, di ba, naalala natin, meron tayong tinatawag na monoatomic at polyatomic. So, polyatomic siya, itong NO3. Grupo yan. So, grupo sila. Magkakasama niyang NO na yan. So, crisscross, itong negative, mapupunta kay zinc. Negative 1, so 1. So, you don't need to write 1. And then, 2 plus, mapupunta kay NO3. At dahil nga grupo itong NO3, magkakaroon ng parenthesis, NO3, dahil grupo sila. Itong 2 ay as a group, magiging subscript ni NO3. So, that will be our answer. So, hindi na pwedeng lowest number yan. Okay? You don't need to distribute the subscript 2 sa NO3. Kasi nga grupo tong NO3. So, dahil grupo yan, lagyan mo lang ng parenthesis. Hindi mo kailangang i-distribute yung itong 2 sa N, itong 2 sa 3, ay sa oxygen. Okay? So, zinc, NO3, then 2. Okay? Okay. Then, another example. Sige, para mas lalo pang ma-practice, this is Pb4 plus and then SO4 2 negative. So, same this lang. Magiging Pb2. And then SO4 is polyatomic. So, grupo yan ulit. And then 4, ang mapuputang subscript. It looks like hindi pa siya final answer kasi yung mga subscript pwedeng ma-lowest term. So, this will be Pb SO4 2. Okay. So, again, ang ilo-lowest term mo lang is yung mga subscript. Bakit hindi ni lowest term tong 4 sa oxygen? Kasi nga, itong SO4, hindi mo siya pwedeng galawin. Grupo sila. I mean, as definition, SO4 talaga siya. Parang yung identity niya is SO4. So, hindi mo pwede galawin yung any subscript dito sa identity ng polyatomic. Ang pwede mo lang i-lowest term is itong mga kinriss-cross mo. Ang kinriss-cross mo lang naman ay 2 at 4. Itong 2 at 4 na to. So, sila lang yung pwede mong i-lowest term. Into 1 and 2. Okay? And again, as you look at it, your final answer is electrically neutral and at the same time, it doesn't have a positive nor negative charge. Okay? Alright, that actually ends my lesson in atoms, molecules, and ions, and I hope you learned a thing or two. Okay? I hope you'll be having a great day ahead.